So the software company Loom just got acquired for almost $1 billion in cash. This is one of the biggest acquisitions that have happened recently. And in this video, I'm gonna be sharing with you why they were just acquired and also some of the insights you can have for your innovative business about how you can replicate the same things to grow and scale your company to eventually one day be acquired for a very large sum of money. Now, if you're not familiar with Loom, it's essentially a software that allows you to create short little videos on the web and share them with people. It was started in 2015 and they've raised over $30 million in a Series B in 2019. This company does about 7 million videos a month that are processed through its platform. And you could think of it as almost like a YouTube, but specifically for businesses. So it presents a really interesting opportunity for a company like Atlassian, which is interested in expanding its suite of software tools. Now, if you're not familiar with Atlassian, it's actually a company that was founded a while ago, almost 21 years ago in 2002, with the goal of creating tools for different kinds of developers. It's actually built and acquired the company called Trello, and it does all sorts of different software applications for developers and technologists to work on projects and supercharge their productivity. You may also know some of their other softwares like Jira and Confluence. These are usually softwares that are used by a lot of mid-market companies and enterprise companies, but with the acquisition of Loom, it presents another major way that it can expand its software portfolio. Now, if you go on the Atlassian website, it actually credits a couple of main reasons for why it was purchased and why Loom was purchased. So almost 5 million, like I said, 5 million Loom videos are created every month, and there's 200,000 passionate customers. There are over 1 billion knowledge workers looking for better ways to plan, track, and execute work each day. Now, if you're a company like Atlassian, you're trying to provide solutions for those 1 billion knowledge workers in the world. Now, you might be asking, why would Loom, with such amazing growth and such an innovative technology, sell to a company like Atlassian? One of the reasons could be that, according to TechCrunch, it had to lay off 14% of its workers recently due to the technological recession this year. Now, one other interesting thing that Loom has said in terms of why it sold to Atlassian is because that it's in line with its original story and mission. Now, if you look at Atlassian and what it's trying to do here, in expanding the mission of Loom, Loom's goal is to help get one of the most important universal skills, which is communication, distributed easier and to a more accessible fashion for so many people around the world. So many people prefer to have video communication over other forms of communication, and video can convey a lot more to an individual about something that needs to be done than other forms of, let's say, writing or other forms of communication in a workspace. Now, with those reasons in mind, here are 5 reasons why I think that Loom was acquired by Atlassian after looking into the business strategy. The first reason I think I've already mentioned, which is strategic alignment. See, when a company like Loom gets really large, there's a certain point where a company like Atlassian, with already over 20 years of building the infrastructure for scale for a company like Loom, may just have a larger war chest to go and actually build out these different products for a company like Loom. A company like Loom is very fast growth and may eventually need to continue raising more money in order to achieve its strategic objectives. So a company like Atlassian can provide that capital for the long term and create a more sustainable future for a company. At the end of the day, if the idea is to achieve its goals, in order to do that, you may want to find a company like Atlassian, which already has a number of successes in a very similar field to help you achieve them, which probably went a lot into the thought process of Loom being acquired. The second way and reason why I think Loom was acquired by Atlassian was because it can help expand collaboration tools for both businesses. The thing is that with Atlassian having both Confluence and Jira and other tools, it makes it really easy to imagine ways that Loom can be integrated into these tools. For example, Jira, which does a lot of project management for software developers, you could imagine video being a very important part of that. And they probably realized that Loom was being used by a lot of their software developers to convey important things like QA testing and other kinds of things that go into developing software. So because of this, they may have just thought, well, hey, if they're already using this right now, let's try to find ways to expand its use case, by actually implementing the product more in line and actually in the actual features we're developing for Jira. The third reason is leveraging the customer base and technology of both companies. Now, when you're a really large company like Atlassian, it actually becomes pretty expensive at a certain point to acquire new users, because what happens is there's a new area of the market that you haven't been able to invest into, but a new startup might have. And if they do, then you can actually go and invest into that company to acquire its users. And user acquisition is one of the most pivotal things for a software business that already has an incredible amount of IP and network effects. And at that point, just getting as many users as possible is essentially the goal of a company like Atlassian, and expanding their actual total customer base. And so being able to acquire 25 million additional users is definitely worth the price tag for a company like Atlassian. Not to mention that because of the current tech downturn, a company like Loom may have had a higher valuation last year at its peak. And because of this, Atlassian might be looking at buying these users for their platform at a significant discount. The fourth reason, I believe, is because Atlassian really actually believes in the Loom product. You see, a lot of mergers and acquisitions actually fail. So because many of these companies like Atlassian understand this, they don't want to repeat history. And in order to not repeat history, they have to actually look at the cultural fit and the mission and whether or not it aligns with the mission of their company. And so because Atlassian has this goal of creating collaborative tools for a lot of different technologists, this is a perfect fit, in my opinion, with the things that they already do. So there's an alignment of mission, values, and purpose for both companies. The fifth and final reason is, again, and I have to harp on this even more in the current tech climate, is again the financial worries. I think that Loom probably felt that this recession could continue for a little bit longer than they had planned. And because of this, they may have felt this might have been the best time before the market dips further for them to sell and merge with a company like Atlassian. It could be 2, 3, maybe even 4 years before the tech ecosystem gets back to how it was in 2020, late 2020, and early 2021, when everything was at its peak. And so because of this, it's something that really probably gave them a sense of urgency in terms of making sure they did this quickly and without hesitation. So I hope this video was informative and gave you some insight into how this innovative business started in 2015 was able to grow and scale into a massive giant in the video space for businesses. And in this channel, we're going to be going into all sorts of ways that innovative businesses can grow and scale. We'll be analyzing companies and sharing ways they're utilizing things like no code, AI to amplify their sales and get their message out there to the world. If you like this video, please feel free to like and subscribe, and feel free to share it with someone you think would get a kick out of it. Feel free to comment below as well if you have any interesting questions or thoughts about the whole Loom acquisition. I'm definitely really interested in hearing your opinions on it, because it's pretty game-changing news since the M&A market this year for tech has been a little stagnant, to say the least. So I'll be keeping up tabs on this to see what's happening in the market. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask, and don't be a stranger.